Virginia man who lost $272,000. And this is the saddest of all. There, quote, there wasn't enough money left even to pay for his headstone. The daughter of a victim of cryptocurrency fraud who killed himself. So this scamdemic is certainly a generational wealth transfer from Main Street USA into the hands of Chinese organized crime, making it both a national security problem and a homeland security problem. And with the partners behind us, my office will not stand by as these Chinese organized crimes enterprises empty out the bank accounts of hardworking Americans, many, of course, left without the ability to go back into the workforce. And that is why we are here today. With our partners at the Maine Department of Justice, the FBI, the United States Secret Service, a scam center strike force is being created. As the prosecuting office in the nation's capital, we have the authority to charge foreign defendants and seize foreign property well situated to engage also with our partner agencies across the government. This new strike force mission is to identify and charge the leaders of these cryptocurrency scam organizations, to trace and to seize the stolen funds to the victims, and seize and disable the United States infrastructure that is the manner and the means of the scam itself. So already we've been hard at work. We've already seized over $400 million, and today we are filing additional actions to forfeit $80 million that we will return to victims. We have seized websites being used by these compounds in Southeast Asia that are used to victimize Americans. We're seeking warrants to seize satellite terminals and accounts being used by the perpetrators to connect to the internet. And our Strike Force Burma team has identified, quote, the Democratic Karen Force Burma team, Benevolent Army. Let me say it again. The Democratic Karen Benevolent Army, which is a Burmese army group which is supporting scam centers, which we have nominated for designation by the Treasury Department. We're calling on all U.S. providers to assist us because left unchecked, this will continue to grow. And it will grow on the networks that we talked about, resulting in U.S. believers, U.S. users believing they can no longer trust these platforms as safe. We want to work with United States partners in a public-private partnership to ensure that these corrupt scammers will immediately be cut off, thus preventing the United States infrastructure from being used as a means to perpetrate fraud against Americans. My final message on this issue is as follows. The Department of Justice will not stand by while Chinese organized crime victimizes Americans and bleeds dry the hard-earned investments of American citizens. The Scam Center Strike Force brings together a cadre of resources across agency. Our best and brightest are being brought together to attack this problem by securing our United States infrastructure, by returning money to victims, and by bringing these perpetrators to justice. Now, I'd like to call upon two of the people behind me right now, Gregory Heeb from the FBI Criminal Division, Deputy Assistant Director.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. I'm Gregory Heeb with the FBI's Criminal Investigative Division. I'd like to thank United States Attorney Pirro and the men and women serving in your office, ma'am, for leading efforts within the United States government to bring agencies, experts, and other resources together to fight the growing threat that scam centers pose to the American people. I'm proud to be here today standing beside our partners to demonstrate the FBI's commitment to the important work of the Scam Center Strike Force. Our partnership with the United States Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia and with the agencies represented here today is critical. It's a critical component of the FBI's strategy to counter complex fraud schemes no matter where they originate. The FBI has dedicated resources from headquarters here in Washington, D.C., from the Washington field office, and from field offices around the country, including New York, New Haven, Boston, San Diego, Philadelphia, Chicago, and Nashville, to advance the work of this Scam Center strike force. In addition, the FBI relies on teams of FBI professionals serving in legal attaché offices across the world, in Southeast Asia as well, to advance the work of this strike force, and we do so in close coordination with our foreign law enforcement partners. The lasting impact from highly sophisticated transnational financial crimes emanating from these scam centers can be devastating to victims and their families, as United States Attorney Pirro mentioned. There are countless stories of Americans who have worked their whole lives only to fall victim to one of these schemes and lose everything. Everyone is a target, and anyone can fall victim. These fraud schemes are on the rise. The FBI's Internet Crimes Complaint Center reported losses exceeding $6.5 billion in 2024, and that's just from crypto investment fraud schemes alone. That's a 43% increase in losses from the year before. This year, reported losses are on track to increase, once again surpassing those numbers in 2024. Keep in mind, as the judge mentioned, this number only captures losses that are actually reported to law enforcement. Actual losses are much, much higher. The FBI is committed to working alongside our partners to protect the American people and to pursue the criminal networks operating these scams. It is our job, together with our partners here today, to stop these criminals, and we are going to do just that. Thank you very much. And I'd like to turn it over to my colleagues in the Secret Service.
Good morning. I'm Keogh Dolan, the Assistant Director for the U.S. Secret Service's Office of Field Operations. I'm pleased to join my colleagues today from the U.S. Attorney's Office, Department of Justice, the FBI, and the U.S. Treasury and State Departments. Since 2019, the Secret Service has seen a major uptick in cryptocurrency investment scams. The organizations behind these scams leverage an ecosystem of criminality, often weaving an intricate web of illicit activities together to perpetrate their schemes. These schemes include human trafficking, victim engineering, and money laundering, among other crimes. The U.S. Secret Service, along with our partners, have worked diligently to investigate these scams and return stolen funds to victims. During the 2025 fiscal year alone, the U.S. Secret Service has responded to approximately 3,000 victims who contacted us regarding cryptocurrency investment schemes, and we seized or froze approximately $495 million in stolen cryptocurrency. These stolen funds were primarily obtained from cryptocurrency investment scams linked to scam centers located in Southeast Asia. With the newly established Scam Center Strike Force, we can do even more to assist our victims in these scams. Each Strike Force member agency brings unique expertise and capabilities that, when combined in a strategic and coordinated manner, will greatly impact our ability to combat these scams and dismantle the criminal organizations behind them. The U.S. Secret Service will leverage our cryptocurrency tracing expertise, as well as our network of skilled forensic accountants, to trace stolen funds and identify impacted victims. Additionally, our overseas field offices have been working alongside law enforcement partners in the region for years to combat these crimes, and we will continue to leverage these relationships during our work on the strike force. As U.S. Attorney Pirro mentioned, we have already seen the results from strike force efforts. Included in the seizures announced today is a $66 million cryptocurrency investment scam-related seizure, which involved hundreds of victims that were targeted on a dating app. This investigation, led by the U.S. Secret Service's Global Investigative Operations Center, identified approximately 500 websites linked to the organization where victims were enticed with false investment opportunities. The second case I'd like to highlight that was included also in today's announcement is a $1.5 million cryptocurrency scam-related seizure by our Memphis field office. Of course, done in coordination with our FBI partners, thank you. We identified nearly 100 U.S. victims. And after this seizure, an additional 120 victims came forward or were identified further underscoring the importance of victim reporting. I would like to emphasize to those that are listening today that your voice matters. These cases started with victim reporting, and this fight will continue with your help. If you believe that you are a victim in any of these cases, please contact your local Secret Service field office or email cryptofraud@usss.dhs.gov. Again, cryptofraud@usss.dhs.gov, or you can file a complaint with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3. It truly takes all of us to combat these scams. So in closing, I'd like to thank U.S. Attorney Pirro and her team for your steadfast support. I'd also like to thank our Strike Force agency partners for their continued collaboration. We certainly look forward to working together with all of you to combat this scamdemic. And finally, I certainly want to recognize the dedicated efforts of the U.S. Secret Service team, especially our cadre of skilled analytic professionals and forensic accountants. This group, led by Callie, our program manager and cryptocurrency expert, with support from our special agent colleagues, have made such an impact in combating these scams. Of course, even our foreign and domestic field offices. They continue to dedicate countless hours to combat this scamdemic. So all of you have and continue to make a difference. Thank you for caring enough to do so. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time today and turn it back over to U.S. Attorney Pirro.
Thank you. Thank you. And now, key to our success is the collaboration with the agency partners. And I'd like to turn the podium over now to the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC Director Bradley T. Smith from the Treasury Department.
Good morning, and thank you, Judge Pirro. We at Treasury are thrilled to be here today and to support the exciting strike force that was announced this morning. As part of that whole-of-government effort, working with our colleagues at the Department of Justice as well as the Secret Service, we are pleased today to announce that we are sanctioning the entity identified by Judge Pirro earlier today, the Democratic Karen Benevolent Army, or DKBA, and 4 of its leaders for supporting cyber scam centers in Burma that target Americans using fraudulent investment schemes. The DKBA is a violent group that provides, quote unquote, security at the Tai Chang compound in Burma. That compound houses cyber scam operations that have targeted and stolen money from Americans. Perhaps even worse, the DKBA actively participates in violence against the human trafficking victims trapped in the compound and forced to work in its scam centers against their will. As part of our broader effort to disrupt this network, we are also sanctioning today 2 companies and a Thai national who are linked to Chinese organized crime and have worked with DKBA and other armed groups to develop scam centers. It is now illegal for those sanctioned to move money, buy goods, or purchase services in the United States, and as a practical matter, to engage in any significant financial transaction around the world. As others have mentioned, this cyber scam threat is serious. Last year, by our estimates, and estimates vary, but we estimate that approximately $10 billion was lost to Southeast Asia-based scam operations, a 66% increase over the prior year. In some cases, as Judge Pirro indicated, victims here in the United States have lost their entire savings to these schemes. Now, today's action actually builds on an effort that Treasury has undertaken since the start of President Trump's second term. Indeed, this is our 5th action this year targeting scam centers, totaling over 165 different designations, including one in May and another in September, targeting actors in Burma. Using the task force announced today by Judge Pirro, we are committed to continuing this work, to taking the initiative and working with our law enforcement partners and our colleagues around the government, including at the Department of State, to disrupt these scam operations and to ensure that we protect U.S. citizens and the U.S. financial system. And with that, I'd like to turn over to my colleagues from the State Department to touch on their work.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Pirro, also all my agency colleagues. So good morning, I'm Chris Lamberg. I'm the head of the International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Bureau at the State Department. Since day one of the Trump administration, the Department of State has been working in lockstep with the Departments of Justice and Treasury and Homeland Security to prioritize protecting American citizens, including from threats of online scams. I'm proud to stand here today with U.S. Attorney Pirro, colleagues from DOJ and Treasury and FBI, the United States Secret Service, and all the hardworking members of the Department of Justice's Scam Center Strike Force. Chinese transnational criminal organizations in Southeast Asia have increasingly and purposefully targeted U.S. citizens, defrauding them, as Judge Pirro said, of more than $9 billion just last year alone, and posing every day a direct threat to U.S. national security and to our fellow citizens. Many of these criminal organizations rely on forced criminality, as it has been said by some of my colleagues, a form of human trafficking to facilitate scams, threatening victims with extreme quotas and using violence when these quotas are not met. We estimate that more than 400,000 people from more than 70 countries are forced to work in these scam compounds, primarily in Burma, Cambodia, and Laos. With the crime extending increasingly to the Western Hemisphere and Sub-Saharan Africa. Those numbers have likely grown significantly as criminal operations relocate in response to Beijing's crackdown in some places in Burma and Thailand. Recently publicized steps by senior Cambodian government officials demonstrate their concern, but are followed by little measurable progress toward disrupting a criminal industry that generates billions of dollars a year, equivalent to roughly 40% of Cambodia's GDP, for example. The Department of State is stepping up our efforts to stop these scams. We are dedicating more than $25 million of security assistance to support the DOJ strike force to combat this threat. We will also support the DOJ strike force using visa restrictions against corrupt foreign officials who enable scams, and through the Transnational Organized Crime Rewards Program, which enables the Secretary of State to offer rewards up to $25 million for information leading to the arrest and or conviction of high-level transnational criminals involved in scamming U.S. citizens. The rewards program can also offer rewards for information leading to the seizure and forfeiture of scam proceeds, similar to DOJ's financial disruption to the scam industry through its recent seizure of a huge seizure of cryptocurrency related to the Prince Group Holdings investigation. The Department of State is coordinating with the Department of Treasury as well to impose financial sanctions on individuals and entities involved in defrauding U.S. citizens through cyber scams. The State Department is working to eliminate the forced labor driving these centers through ongoing programs to raise awareness of fraudulent job recruitment, identifying potential trafficking victims, and bolstering government's abilities to prosecute human trafficking through digital evidence. The Department of State, together with our U.S. law enforcement partners and global partners, is protecting Americans, dismantling scam operations, holding those responsible accountable, and pressing all countries to demonstrate the necessary political will to uproot these scam networks. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that it's pretty obvious that we are committed to this new strike force from across all different agencies in the government. I think the biggest problem is that so many people have heard about crypto and they want to get involved and they don't understand it. And if they can see a legitimate profit on a legitimate website, they're all in. And that's what we're trying to prevent, especially when we've got these scam centers in Southeast Asia, and they are part of even bigger operations that are intended to target the United States to move money from Main Street USA to other countries. And that's why we're all here today. And I'm very proud of this operation. And I want to recognize one person here on my left and your right, Karen Siebert. who is with my office and is one of the people who is at the center of the brains of this operation. So I want to recognize Karen for the work that she's done. She was actually on maternity leave, and I think she did more work during maternity leave than on normal days. But even your normal days are long days. So congratulations to Karen. Now, also, I just want to say that there are partners that are interested in working with us. When I talked about Facebook and some of the other social media platforms, there are people who are reaching out to us saying, we want to be a part of this public-private partnership. So we're very excited about that. So I think it will be even bigger and will give, hopefully, Americans some recourse when they end up being scammed in these very targeted scams. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Strike force of this kind in the country of any U.S. Attorney's office?
Is it? I'm pretty sure, yeah, to our knowledge, we think it is. And I think the benefit here, as I've already indicated, is because of the jurisdiction that I have here, we have here in Washington, we have jurisdiction over these cases from foreign countries. It is a first.
What is your advice to elderly Americans? These people can be pretty persistent. I know people are receiving these texts all the time. What is your advice about how to deal with this and not get scammed out of your life savings?
Well, I think the most important thing that we can tell someone who becomes victimized by this is, don't be disappointed in yourself. Don't be upset with yourself that you fell to this kind of scam, because these people are experts. In some cases, their livelihood depends upon how much money they bring in to the scam center. So I think that's the most important thing. But the second most important thing is that if it sounds too good to be true, it is. If you don't understand cryptocurrency at this stage of your life, chances are you're not going to understand it. Don't invest unless you're dealing with an American company, with someone who is a recognized, established company in the United States. See, there's a certain mystery about all this that everybody hears about, people making millions in crypto. It's a fraud, and it's one of the biggest frauds that we're seeing. It was identity theft several years back. Now cryptocurrency theft is the biggest theft that we're seeing in this country.
You released a statement on the record recently that Mayor Bowser is not under investigation or the target under investigation. Can you say that trip in question, nothing about it's under investigation, no one involved in it?
I maintain the statement that I made. She is not under investigation, and she is not being investigated. I think we ought to just end it there.
Was she ever under investigation?
No, she was not. You're welcome. Okay, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And thank you to everyone behind me. I'm very, very excited about this. And just so you know, Meta has already indicated that they are willing to collaborate and partner with us. So that's a great first step. And we've got Microsoft has also reached out. See, I thought you'd ask those questions. Microsoft has also reached out, and AARP has reached out. They want to work with us. They know who's being targeted. They want to help us. They want to stop it.